Hey guys, it's Phoenix Android Radios here, and in this video we're going to be looking at the Nissan Titan from 2016 to 2019. There's two versions of this radio. You have the Android 9 version, which has a silver metal box coming up from here. But in this video we're looking at the Android 10 version, and it has a black panel on the back here. So looking at the radio, these are all going to be factory connections, the hazard as well as the physical buttons. And you have two connectors here. One is for the auto AC vehicles. The other is for the manual AC vehicles. So if you're auto AC, you would connect this from your factory car, and this would be empty. And vice versa, if you have manual, this would be connected, and this would be empty. This is the connector from the main harness, which is the Canbus connection right here. And on the back of the radio, you can see we have the radio antenna connection here, 4G LTE signal for a SIM card slot, and a GPS antenna connector right here. And those two items are the 4G antenna you screw onto here with the GPS antenna that you can screw onto here. Now, you can also get an adapter that takes a screw-on adapter and comes out as a connector for your car. So you can actually retain your factory GPS antenna if you have the adapter to adapt to this screw-on. You can also find that online, maybe on eBay or Amazon. This is the power cord connector. There is also a fuse here you can pull out if it's ever blown. Majority of these connections you will be using, some will be empty. Two to look at is the USB ports. There are two USB cables here. One of them, the 4-pin connector, is for your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So we recommend plugging this in as well. And to plug this in, be sure that the clip is on the bottom, facing the bottom. And because this is a 4-pin, we found a 4-pin here. So the 4-pin connector is for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This cable routed out to the outside of your vehicle for easy access. And this is a 6-pin USB cable that plugs into right here. Again, the clip is facing downward. And this you can also route for it to be accessible outside of the car. But of course, make sure that the 4-pin is accessible for the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. We will disconnect these two for now. The other peripherals you will get is an external microphone. The radio has a built-in microphone on the radio. On the front of the radio, there is a built-in microphone right here. There's also a setting inside the radio to support the factory OEM microphone on your vehicle. We recommend using either the built-in or the factory one, and do not need to use the external microphone. However, if the built-in microphone is not working, you can connect this. And this connection comes off from this connector here. There is a aux jack to connect the external microphone. Only connect this if the built-in microphone does not work. One issue we found is if you connect the external microphone and you're using the built-in one as well, there is some echo happening. The radio has two SIM card slots, one right here. We found that T-Mobile works best. You can also try the one that's here. And again, this has a long cable, so you can route it outside the car for accessibility. You just push down and it should pop open. Oh, there you go. And you can insert the SIM here. The last cable you'll get is this adapter. And this is an adapter to support the factory USB port on your factory vehicle. This will connect to, we recommend the 6-pin because the 6-pin is the secondary. Connect right here. This connects to the car, so that when you plug in the USB flash drive on your factory USB port, it will go through here to our radio. Test out this adapter before fully installing the radio, just to see if it has a consistent connection. These are all the peripherals you get. Now we can move on to the main cable. If your car has a factory backup camera, you're going to be connecting it using this cable. It's labeled CCD AVIN. This is for factory backup camera as well as an aftermarket camera. It is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It is a 10-pin connector, and with the clip facing down, we're going to connect it right here. So connect your factory or aftermarket backup camera here. There's 2 wires, a brown wire and a pink wire, brake and back power, but we don't recommend needing these wires because your reverse trigger should already happen through the main cable. When you go in reverse, the radio should go in the reverse screen. So these loose cables are not needed. Looking at the main harness, you have a couple adapters, this one as well as this one. This is the largest one. Of course, it goes to the top right here. And now we need to look at the year model of your vehicle. If you have a 2016 to 18 vehicle, you're going to be using one of these 2 connectors, one that says with navigation, the other one that says without navigation. The vehicles 2016 to 18 without navigation, you will be needing this OBD adapter. Other than that, this one not needed. So if you're a 2016 to 18 without Navi, use this OBD adapter connector. For the 2016 to 18 without navigation, majority of the time you will not have an amplifier, so you will be using the connector that says without amplifier. So now that we've covered 2016 to 18 without navigation, connect these 2 connectors along with the OBD connector. This 2-pin connector connects to a male side connector from here. If you're a manual AC, you would be connecting the factory connector, which is right here. If you're an auto AC, connect this one here. And don't forget to connect the Canbus connection, which comes from here. With the vehicles 2016 all the way to 2019, you're usually going to have you're going to be using one of these 2 connectors along with one of these 2, which is for the factory radio antenna. So of course, one of these connects to the vehicle, and one of these, depending on which one you're using, connects to the top here. For vehicles 2016 to 18 with navigation, you'll be using this label with navigation. And on this connector, you can see we have 3 RCAs. 2 of them are for the factory aux jack on your vehicle. So these 2 male connectors would connect to the 2 females on this connector labeled aux in, aux R in. This is to support the factory 3.5 jack on your vehicle connector, on your vehicle port. You also have the male RCA, which is for the factory backup camera. This will connect up here to CCDN and like that. So this is to support the factory backup camera. If you have an aftermarket camera, you would not use this and just connect your aftermarket through here. That is 2016 to 18 with navigation. And of course, if it has an amplifier, use the connector with an amplifier. No amplifier, use the connector without amplifier. If you're a 2016 to 18 with navigation, you also need to connect this Canbus connection, which will be like so. So those are the connections for the 2016 to 18 with navigation, with amplifier, without amplifier. So for the 2016 to 18 with navigation, you always need to connect this 2-pin connector here. And if it has an amplifier, looking at this connector, there are many RCAs coming from to here, and these are to support the factory amplifier in your vehicle. They're labeled RCA FR for front right, FL for front left, RL for rear left, and RR for rear right. And these 4 connections, red, white, white, and red, the FR and FL, we can match over to this harness here. It's kind of weird, but there's 2 RCAs that are labeled FR out, FL out. So just match the 2 FR to FR, FL to FL. And then the other two from the with amp connector, there's RR and RL. And that will come from over here on this main harness connection, where you have this 8-pin connector, and of course match this with the top here, and that 8-pin would go right here. And this has two RCAs, RR and RL. So connect the matching two like so. So these RCAs are usually for the vehicles that have an amplifier. Forgot to mention this connector. We have a label 2016 to 18 without navigation. And this is find a connector in your vehicle that'll fit this. And aux R and aux L is to support the factory 3.5 jack, AUX jack on your vehicle for 2016 to 18 without Navi. So that should cover vehicles from 2016 to 18 with navigation and without navigation. Now we're going to look at the 2019 vehicles and later. And you're just going to be using this connector here, 2019 and later. And this should have majority of the connections. Now, this one has the aux R and aux L as well to support the factory 3.5 jack and the CVBS cam out to support the factory backup camera. If there is an amplifier, you will be using the label with amp. And again, it has the RCA RL and RCA RR to retain the factory amp sound, as well as this connector here with the 8-pin connector that has the RCA RR and RCA RL, the front RCAs and the back RCAs. These two male connectors will need to connect either here, RCA RL to RCA RL, and RR to RR. So this is the front, so this is the rear sound, and for the FL and FR fronts, you need to connect to this connector here that had the fronts FL out and FR out. Kind of weird that you're going to have to go through two separate connectors, the large one for the fronts with amplifiers and the 8-pin with the back sound with amplifiers. One thing to note is the auto AC vehicles is this connector, and you have to also make sure that you leave the air conditioning board inside the vehicle connected. For the Nissan Titan, it may be a black box, but it comes from your stack of parts that you take out from the factory radio. So leave this connected inside the car. When connecting the radio, just check that you're using the correct connectors for the air conditioning box. Usually these connectors for the air conditioning box as well as the manual or the auto AC, there is a blue or yellow tape to identify it as an air conditioning connector. The reason we mention this is because some of these connectors have an identical set number of pins that may connect to either this connector or this. So if you mismatch the pin, so if you mismatch the identical connectors, then something may not work. Maybe you can check if using the correct plugs for the air conditioning. And these plugs below are for your physical buttons on the side of the radio that also come from your factory car. I believe the middle one is the hazard, and the rest have certain shapes to them. So try not to mismatch them, because that might also blow a fuse. You can see based on the key, there is a notch here. So this one can actually connect to the other connectors. So just confirm that these connectors are the correct ones. This is the video for the Nissan Titan 2016 to 2019 and later Android 10 radios. We have another video for the Android 9, which follows a similar route on the connections. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.